Hello, everybody. It is Renee, and I am super fortunate this morning to get to talk with Rose from Ideal Weight Management in Gainesville, Florida. She is, I think, one of the most innovative coaches and clinic owners that I have met online so as far as the really creative ideas that she gives her clients, the great workshops that she runs. And one of her recent workshops was a nutrition boost workshop where they did all different kinds of ways of adding your nutrition to your shakes. So welcome, Rose. Tell us about yourself and your clinic.
Yeah, thank you. Excuse my mess in here. Our clinic is currently under construction. We've been open about 8 years now, and we do lots and lots of workshops and lots of education, and so our services have expanded that way. And we recently did just do this workshop on how to add stuff to your shake to make it bulkier, maybe last longer. Maybe you are rushing out the door and you couldn't get your vegetables in. So we listened to clients and kept hearing what they were saying, and we decided to let's actually make a bunch of shakes and let everybody taste them. And surprisingly, everyone was surprised at what their favorite one was. I'll tell you guys that at the end. But it was a hit. Everyone loved it.
Awesome. So why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about your philosophy as a coach and how you help people not only through weight maintenance, but we were just talking a minute ago about being creative and eating whole foods and a little bit about your philosophy for.
Sure. Yeah, we just really believe that if we can't change behaviors long term, that we won't have lasting results. We know that it's a journey, it's not a quick fix, and we know that everybody is hustling and running around, and everybody's got, our culture has just put our health on the back burner, and we keep trying to bring it to the forefront. But we really understand that this is a lifelong journey. It's not something that only matters temporarily. And if we don't teach along the way, people will eventually just go right back into old habits, and they will put their weight back on. And we really want to avoid that. We really want people to have the long-term lasting results. So our big thing is just based around education, reaching as many people as we can, changing our community, making it healthier, stronger. All of us are so much better together when we do that.
I love it. I noticed that you did a olive oil workshop recently. Yes. What do you talk about in that workshop?
Yeah. So this is actually our third year doing that particular workshop. We have a local olive oil vinegar store that comes and hosts it with us. So I'll start off the workshop by kind of just going through some basic questions that we get often, like, can I substitute coconut oil or avocado oil or different types of oils that people ask about. So I'll kind of give that little education piece, and then I hand it over to the owners of the olive oil vinegar store, and they talk about what is the difference between extra virgin and virgin, and how are these olive oils regulated? And they go through, how do you know when your olive oil's gone rancid? And so they kind of give you some tips and tools, and then they have a fun tasting. They bring lots of raw cucumbers, radishes, mushrooms, celery. So if anybody in there is on phase one, we'll know what they can do. And we have a whole tasting. They teach you how to pair up olive oils and vinegars. And they're really fun. They donate to our company. Every month we have monthly drawings, and they donate a gift to that too. So they're just big supporters of ours. And that was really fun. I would encourage other clinics to definitely get behind that one.
Yeah, I love that. And just since we're talking about nutrition boosts, let's just take a second to talk about the oil and why we choose only the specific oils in phase one.
Yeah, so it has to do with the omega-6s that are in there, and it can get really complicated, and it can get, probably far more than any of us really care to even know, honestly. But they aren't all the same. And so, while, occasionally maybe a change out for a coconut oil for an olive oil might be okay, there is a reason for the 1 to 2 teaspoons of olive oil. It has to do with protecting your gallbladder. The other oils do not have the same makeup, and so they cannot be interchanged. You will be messing with the protocol, and every time we do that, every time we tweak it, you slow down results. So
Yeah.
I would say get a good olive oil. Of course, we've done this workshop on this so much because we really, believe in that. But olive oils are not as regulated as people think that they are. They can write some fancy words on the label and they might actually not be great olive oils. And olive oil is one of those things that people use every single day. So when you're talking about things that people use every single day, you need to nail it and you need to get it right. Just the same thing with coffee. We're big on like how you drink your coffee matters because it's not an occasional thing. It's things that people do every single day. And if we can work on the daily things, it makes everything else, trickle down effect.
Yeah, one of these days we will have to talk about the coffee. That would be fun to have your coffee person come on and interview him. Okay, so today, if you are online and you're watching, please tell us where you're from. Say hello to us. I see Dee is out there. Hey, Dee, nice to see you. And tell us where you're from. Tell us what your questions are. So the key thing that we're going to be talking about today is ways that you can use your complex carbohydrates, which are your veggies, and bulk up your protein drinks. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, Rose, but if I'm doing a little phase 1 reboot in the morning time, I, have my shake around 7 or 8 in the morning. And then by the time 10 o'clock hits, I'm not ready for lunch, but I'm kind of a little bit hungry. Sure. And so those complex carbohydrates metabolize slowly. And they, if we add them to our shake, number one, we're going to feel satisfied. And number two, we're going to get some new flavors and, varieties, the spice of life. If you drink chocolate every single day, you're going to, eventually want to shoot yourself, right?
Yeah. So we talked about really deciding the purpose of why you're adding stuff to your shake, because we did talk about you can add some things that are on your unlimited list, things like spinach, you can add a whole cucumber, you can add celery, you can add certain things. So before you ever, start throwing stuff in a blender, make sure that you know what the intentions are of what you're doing. Are you trying to actually use some vegetables that are going to go towards your vegetable count for the day? Or do you want to use freebies because you want to save that? So that's you got to be mindful and aware of that. Also, though, even if you're in maintenance or you're trying to get your kids to eat more vegetables, or your husband or your mom, whoever it is, these things are great because it's a good way to get more nutrition and more vitamins into your shake without them complaining about that kind of stuff. So while in the end we love everybody to eat and chew their vegetables and break them down naturally, it's okay to throw some stuff in a shake and have it a little hidden sometimes too. So before you ever start adding stuff to the shake, be mindful of just because you put in a shake doesn't mean it's a freebie. So you have to know, am I counting this towards my vegetable count for the day, or is this just going to be a freebie? And that will help you decide which vegetables to put into your shake.
And the cool thing is you're using raw vegetables, so you can use that raw unlimited list. If strategically all you want to do is add some bulk and keep your tummy full, sure, then you can strategically use your spinach and your different cucumbers and things that are on your unlimited list. And then that's a really good point. And again, if you are, just like Rose said, if you're making smoothies for your family, then that's on a whole different level where you're really looking at the nutrition and what you want your family to have, your vitamin B's and A's and C's and K's and all of that good stuff. Yeah. Okay, Rose. So before we get online, if you are here, tell us where you're from. I see a couple people out there. Hi, Sherry from Indianapolis. Nice to see you. And Candy, we love you and always a faithful follower. So down 160 pounds. Yay, congratulations. Thank you for sharing with us and always being online to see what's up. All right, so Rose, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, and you tell us all your different combinations, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so we started with talking about definitely distinguishing, like we said at the beginning, what is your shake? Are you going to use vegetables that count towards your 2 cups? And make sure you're mindful of that as we go through a few things. Sorry, looking for my handout. Okay. So, and Renee, if you want to post that handout up there, you can.
That's right. You know what? I was going to say, I made it so that if you type in the word boost or recipe, it will automatically send you a link to your Facebook Messenger. Thanks for reminding me, Rose.
Sure.
So type in either boost or recipe, and it will send it right to your Facebook Messenger.
Okay, perfect. So let me start with this mango sunrise is what we called it. It's the mango ready-made, which this one has a nice yogurt base, so things blend real smooth with it. Some of the other ones start to separate, but this one will be real smooth. It's kind of a guarantee one you're gonna love. We threw in there frozen spinach. You could use fresh spinach. You probably then would wanna add some ice. But one of the tips that we did around here is, you buy a bag of fresh spinach and you may not get through it all. And before it starts to go bad, just throw it in your freezer because you'll use it later. So just pull out that frozen spinach, throw it in here with this mango yogurt. You can throw a lime in there, like a half a lime. I like to throw the rind in there. There's actually lots of nutrition in the rind, but it probably will get a little you'll have like little pieces and clumps in there, and that might be weird for some of you, so don't feel like you have to. But the rind has good nutrition in there, so if you want to throw the rind in there, don't be scared of it. It's really hard. Maybe if you had a really fancy, expensive blender, it would blend smooth. We were just using regular blenders in here to show people how smooth they mix. This is a favorite. It does turn green. If that like weirds you out or something, I'm giving you the warning here, but this one is really good. It's the hit. You could also, as a trade out, you could definitely use lemon instead of lime. Lime and lemon, if any of the drinks taste too sweet to you, like the orange drink or the peach mango, any of those drinks taste too sweet, if you put a little bit of lime in there, they cut that sweetness a lot of times and they make it taste a lot better. So so that was this mango shake. That's always a hit. We sample this in the clinic about once every couple months too, that same one. And it's a really easy way to get an extra vegetables. It's filling.
One of the things we also do with that is, now that we have a refrigerator in our clinic, is we put them in popsicle sticks, and you get about 3 popsicles out of one of those bottles of mango, which, if you need a popsicle.
Yep. And you could even, once you've mixed all this other stuff in it, you could probably get 6 popsicles out of it once you've thrown the other things in there. So also really good. The next one we did was the cinnamon rhubarb blitz. We used vanilla drink mix as a powder. You could use vanilla ready-made. We always prefer powders over ready-made. So the nutritional, the value of it, it'll be more readily available in the powder form. So this is why we pushed this, and we wanted people to try it with this. So we did the vanilla drink mix. The thing about the rhubarb is you have to cook it down first. So I just boiled it. So that one was cooked, and this would go towards your 2 cups. So we just boiled down the rhubarb. I had made that before I came in, and till it's just kind of soft and mushy. And put the vanilla drink mix in there. And then we added a teaspoon of cinnamon is what you're going for. You can start with a half a teaspoon and see if you can handle more, but a teaspoon of cinnamon a day is where you really get max benefits with the antioxidants and that spice itself. So if you can get a teaspoon of cinnamon in there, that's not too strong for you, throw it in there. If not, start with a half a teaspoon and work your way up. So that was the vanilla rhubarb blitz. It turns red, so people feel like it's strawberry looking, but it's just that rhubarb. And rhubarb is normally pretty tart. People add sugar to it, but you don't need to add any sweetener or anything like that. It'll be really good just the way it was. But just make sure you stew down that rhubarb first. People put it in their Instapot. We just boiled it in water and it was perfect.
Yeah, we made some instant pot compote. It was really good.
Yeah, good one. Okay.
Super easy. It takes like 10 minutes in the instant pot.
A really good favorite drink is coming up. If you haven't tried this yet, I promise you, you will feel like you are deviating so badly, and it's just a great feeling because you're not. So this is the chocolate frosty. So this is chocolate drink mix powder, and all you're going to combine it with is the water that you would put in the chocolate drink mix and your frozen cauli rice, uncooked. Make sure it's raw. It would be disgusting if you use cooked cauli rice. That would not be good. No bueno. So raw cauli rice, it's frozen, so it makes it, and it just, if you blend it up, it tastes just like a frosty. You can eat it with a spoon. It's great any time of the day, but here in Florida where it's hot, this is great. And it blended fine in a regular blender. I know people feel like they need to get a Vitamix and they need to go spend all the money on that, but it blends fine. We even use our Smart Stick here, our immersion blender. If it's over 200 watts, you can just stick it right in and you'll probably be able to blend that cauli rice up pretty smoothly. So,
I use the NutriBullet.
Yep.
And that works really good.
The only complaint we get with the NutriBullet is that sometimes people want more volume and some of the cups aren't big enough. So just pay attention when you get the cups that you get the really big cups so that you can make a big shake. Yeah, you can feel really full. But the chocolate frosty is a hit. People are scared to put cauli rice in there. They all think that, you know, we're crazy with the cauli rice, but
I think the same way, so I'm going to try it.
Yeah, yeah. If you're on phase one and you have less than 10 bags of frozen cauli rice in your freezer, you're unprepared. So everybody, phase one, 10 bags of cauli rice at all times. It's just a great staple item. The next,
Rose, how much of the cauliflower rice do you put in that drink?
Good question. So we started with a half a cup. And we got to a cup where people could see what a cup makes it just thicker.
Okay.
So it's how thick do you want your milkshake to be? But start with a half a cup and then see if you can add more. Okay. That's how we did a lot of them where we showed people this is what it's like with just a half a cup. And that might depend on how many vegetables you're trying to get in. You know, are you trying to get in a cup of vegetables? You know, but the more you put in there, the thicker it could be. You could add more water to it if you want to thin it out. But it's just water, raw frozen cauli rice, and the chocolate drink mix. And all of those things are fine, you know, for you to do on phase one.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, really good, really good. All right, the next one we did is one that is very versatile. We sampled this. We made a cucumber and watermelon refresher, but you could use any of the fruity drinks with this one. So if you have the fruity drinks, the blueberry, cranberry, pomegranate drink, or the peach and mango, or the orange drink, or pineapple banana, you could do this recipe with it. We did the new stevia line. We love this drink. We love the quality of the drink. We love the sweetener in the drink, and we wanted people to try it, and they loved it. So all we did with this drink is we put the water, the drink mix, we put some ice in there, and we put a whole cucumber in there. We just kind of chopped it into chunks first because I didn't have a fancy blender in the office, but we put that in there. Now, here's what you have to know when you're throwing a cucumber in there. The cucumber is great. We throw it in the branched chain amino acids. We throw it into it. It will add more bulk, but it will soon start to settle. So if you wait a while to drink it, it kind of gets a little funky and you just need to re-blend it. So just be ready. It's not one of those things that you can drink, stick in your fridge, and come back to 30 minutes later. You need to blend it and drink it, or else the cucumber gets heavier and you kind of get this weird foam thing at the top. So great drink, really, and nothing's wrong when that happens. It's not going to hurt you. It just, you know, people get all funky with the texture. It doesn't seem right. So you can try that same thing. Add a cucumber to your drinks to add bulk. It's a great way to just add a little bit more unlimited vegetables in there.
Now, are you taking the skin off?
Oh, we didn't take the skin off. Okay. We're lazy around here. We're hustlers.
Nutrition. So,
yeah, you can definitely take the skin off if you want to. We just really don't take it off because we're thinking like you're thinking, which is what is the fastest way I can do this?
Yeah.
And not make it taste funky. So we kept the skin on, and I showed people what it was like when they kept the skin on, and it was good. It was fine.
Okay,
just drink it. Just know that it's going to settle. There's a few more that'll be like that. The thinner, back to the first one we did, this one doesn't seem to settle as fast because it's got the yogurt in there, but the thinner drinks will start.
Yeah. But the thing to think about too is anytime that you're dealing with live produce and raw vegetables is really to get that complete nutrition. You do want to drink it fairly quickly because that's when you absorb that nutrition. If you leave it sitting for half an hour, some of that oxidizes.
Yeah, it starts to break down, right? I'm going to skip over the one that's on my list. I'm going to come back to it. But we did the wild berry yogurt. This product is an oldie but goodie. We still love wild berry yogurt, but for some reason it was, people had forgotten about it on our shelves. So we pulled the wild berry yogurt back out, and we just added spinach and ice to it. And it was thick like that original one. It did turn green, obviously, but people loved it. It was an easy way to make it like a thicker shake. So the one we did before, this is like a thinner, we called it the refresher, the spritzer. You could also put some, in that one, you could put like a LaCroix in it or something like that if you wanted to put some fancy water in it. But these other ones are going to be thicker, more like a smoothie, thick. And you could, if you wanted even more, but you wanted it to count, in this one, kale is also really good. Some people added that lime that we did in the first one. They added the lime into this one. So you can do all those variations, and this one blends real smooth.
I like the wild berry with the rhubarb. Really good.
Oh, yeah. That'll work too. Okay, so the next one we did was really fun. We first, just like we did the rhubarb, but we did it with chayote squash. We boiled it down. Mm-hmm. And we did not peel it.
I don't peel it either. I put it right on
the weird slimy stuff. We did chop it up, put it in water. It does take much longer to boil down than rhubarb does. But we boiled some chayote. And a good little tip that we did here with the chayote and the rhubarb, the smartest thing is if one night you're making some chayote squash, just cut up an extra couple that you're going to use for your shakes later in the week. Yeah. Don't, while you're cooking it one time, cook a little extra. Same thing with rhubarb. Maybe you're making it as a garnish on your fish one night, but go ahead and boil a little extra for you to use in your shakes. That way you're not doing like an entirely another meal for you to cook this. So you're just using the leftovers. But we brewed some peppermint tea, just an herbal tea, and we got it nice and cold. And so we did the peppermint tea with the chocolate drink mix with the chayote squash and blended it. Really good. It was like an iced peppermint mocha. Chayote didn't really add much to it. It added both, but it didn't change the taste. It was really good.
Because it's a really kind of just a simple flavor that doesn't really have one taste one way or the other, So
yeah,
it was awesome.
It was pretty bland, and we saved this last shake for the end because I thought people wouldn't like it, and it by far ended up being the favorite shake. And we sold out of tomato basil soup that night. We weren't really selling products that night, but people were like addicted to it. So we made a legal Bloody Mary. So we took the tomato basil soup. We blended it with ice and spinach. You could easily do kale, but remember, kale goes towards your 2 cups. So we did ice and spinach, and we put out kind of a little Bloody Mary bar. So we let people garnish it with celery. We had pickles. We had hot sauces. We had a few different kinds of peppers, and we just let them go to town, and they had a great time drinking their legal Bloody Mary. And it was really good. So the tomato basil soup, nice and cold like that, was great. It was a hit. People loved it. It was thick. It was great. So I would definitely recommend trying that one. Even if you don't love Bloody Marys, everyone tried it and everyone loved it. Yeah, it was good.
You just gave me an idea for like maybe some
Oh
gazpacho
yeah,
with a little bit of crab and a little touch of olive oil on top.
yeah, yeah. That was the
It's a whole nother angle, but
right. I mean, that was the thing. The greatest thing about vegetables is you can't really mess them up. You can eat them raw, you can eat them undercooked, you can eat them overcooked. You're not going to mess them up. And so don't be afraid to throw some things in there and to taste it. And, if you don't love it, maybe you don't do it the next time, but it's still good for our taste buds to keep doing that. But the Bloody Mary bar was really good. It was savory, so it wasn't sweet, and it was fun, and it gave people really good ideas for the next time they're offered a Bloody Mary. They can make their own. They can come over there with their ice and say, "Oh, I'm going to make my protein Bloody Mary," and they can make it and fit right in and just not have the alcohol.
that's awesome. So you just put the water, the regular amount of water into the tomato basil soup, and you put ice in there and made it cold?
Yes, we made it cold, and we threw some frozen spinach in there. So it did. I will warn you, it's not. Once you put the spinach in there, it's a little brownish. It's not as red as you would like it. So if you want it to stay red, don't put the spinach in there. But it really made it thicker and bulkier. You can do all kinds of things. If you wanted it to be bulky but the same color, you could add raw cauli rice, and it would make it, bulkier. So the things that we were just talking about, like the cauli rice, the chayote, even the rhubarb, or the spinach, they may change the color and slightly the texture, but they don't really change the taste a whole lot. But without doing that, they change your nutrition tremendously. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck when you're drinking that shake with a lot more nutrients in it.
And also the fiber. And it's going to metabolize slowly. It's going to keep you full. So, you can start your day. You can start your Friday tomorrow with a Bloody Mary.
Perfect.
It's legal. You can
drink work and drink your Bloody Mary around work. And when people ask if you're on a diet, you tell them, absolutely. This is completely approved on my diet, and it's legal.
That's funny. Okay, so if you are watching, send us your questions. If you have a special recipe that you love, please put it in the comments section so that everybody can share. So participate. This is how we create more fun for everyone, and we create this community of people that are on the same page, living healthy lifestyles and creating a new lifestyle. Because for people that are just starting and coming from a place where they feel maybe a little confused or overwhelmed, this is a great way to mix things up and have some variety and start learning and sharing, because that's what we're here for. So before we go on, let's say hi to a couple people. Hey, Mindy. I met Mindy at the Seattle Super Weekend. I met all these people from Nebraska. Crazy. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. And Roberta, nice to see you also. Jessica says she wants the boost. So if you type in boost or recipe, you're going to get a downloaded e-flyer that's going to outline all the little ingredients. Rose was kind enough to share everything with us. Kathy, hello. So nice to see you. So let's see. Rose is going to talk a little bit about macros, and, particularly as you get into the lifestyle portion where you've now lost weight, you've gone through your stabilization mode of phases 2 and 3. We're now out in what I call the wild, wild west. We are now maintaining our weight. Rose is going to talk a little bit about macros, what they are, and just if you have questions, just type them into the comment section.
Yeah, so you guys probably actually already know what macros are. You just haven't heard them called macros. But your macros, that stands for your macronutrients. It's the 3 main places that your body is going to pull energy from. And your coaches probably talk to you about them anyways. They are your fat is a macro, your protein is a macro, and your carbohydrate is a macro. And those, 3, everything that you eat goes into one of those macros to help you get your calories for the day. The makeup of that, of those 3 tanks is really important, but you do have to know that everyone is different. Even when you get to maintenance, everyone's asking for, what's the formula for me? What's the formula for me? What's the formula for me? And, we're all we have different metabolisms. We have different lifestyles. We all metabolize food differently, and we all need different amounts. So, while people ask me, what do I need? You have to give yourself a little bit of a break. I always tell people it takes about 6 months of maintenance to truly figure out what makes you feel good, go to the bathroom well, sleep well, exercise well, to really get in tune with your body. So in terms of those macros, the one thing that we really encourage people to do in maintenance is just, most of the time they can stay pretty low in the carb tank. The main part about that carb tank is that every carb that you get should have the most bang for its buck. So when you're talking about carbs, get your carbs from vegetables, because that's the best place that you can get the most amount of volume for the lowest amount of carbs, the most amount of nutrients. Those plants are so important. So your carb tank, everybody is on a different level on what they can take. But even for me, even when I'm training for marathon season, I still don't need a lot of carbs. Some people need more, but I don't need a whole lot of carbs because my body can pull from different places. Protein is your other macronutrient. We need adequate protein. We don't need a huge abundance, and we don't need to have too little. We need to figure out what is right for us, and your coach can help you figure that out. You can also be really aware with your body and in tune, because your body will tell you when you are deficient in protein. You can feel tired, your hair, your skin, your nails, things just don't feel right when your protein is deficient. It's kind of like you're sick. So being really in tune with, am I truly hungry? If I'm truly hungry, like my stomach is growling, I'm probably deficient in protein somewhere. So and then that last macronutrient is fats, and just making sure that you're getting fats from the right sources is really important. And fats have gotten a bad name for the last, 20, 30 years. So make sure you talk to your coach and you get a list of the fats that you need to fuel your body. And you just have to be real careful with that. Some people go really high on the fat side and they're eating lots and lots of fats. And that is only okay if your carbs are really, really low. But the truth is, most people will do this really high fat diet and then kind of have cheat days, and then that really messes them up. So just beware that your high fat diet isn't going to work if you also have high carb. You have to, that is never going to work. And so be really mindful and aware of that. But macronutrients are just as basic as that. It's just the 3 places that you can get your, where you can pull your energy from. And, while you're on phase 1, we're trying to pull from that fat tank. Your body is always actually pulling from protein. So it's really important that we supplement with more protein there so we don't drain that out. And your carb tank is relatively low on phase 1. The carbs you are getting are from your vegetables.
Right. I love that. Okay, great explanation, because it's really as simple as that. It's not technical. And I read online sometimes, like, so if you take your body weight and you times it by 10, and then you minus your shoe size, and then you add your belt size, I mean, it's crazy. So yes. Again, as Rose said, work closely with your coach. The great thing, I know Rose and I have similar types of clinics where you can just come get your body comp done when you're in maintenance. Don't disconnect from your coach, because that's where you're really going to stay on track. And if you are stopping into the clinic, if you're doing your 12-month phase out, where the first couple of months you're there once a week, do the body comp, go over your food journal, you're not gaining fat. So, wow, you're killing it. Then you go, maybe a month or 2 every other week. And then the rest of the time you just stop in once a month. And of course, most people do a small reboot once a year or twice a year. I do mine right after Super Bowl, right after Labor Day. I take off 4 to 5 pounds that maybe, came on over, my fabulous Italian vacation or whatever I was doing. There's nothing, we always say there's nothing to be shameful for. Come on in.
Another real huge piece of advice that I could give people after, just working with so many clients after 8 years is that when you get to phase 3, I know everybody feels like they're excited and they're done and they feel awesome and they're so ready to they're done having to eat all of these restricted foods and they just want to introduce everything at once. The best thing you can do is there's no pun intended here, but the icing on the cake for your whole program is to phase out slowly. What they want to do is go, well, I'm not in a weight loss phase, so I'll just introduce all these things at once. And then that mindfulness and that awareness onto what can I really take in and what can I not? How does my body function with this? And do I need a little bit more fat or a little bit more carbs or more protein? You're going to miss that if you just throw everything back into your diet because you're done and, high five yourself and you think, now that I know how to lose it, I'll lose it later. So just be really it's so hard when you get there. I get it, because at that point, everybody's telling you how fabulous you look and you feel great and you feel like you deserve all of these things that you've been restricted from. But halt yourself there, phase out slowly, take phase 3 as slow as you can, and introduce all of those other things slowly, things like dairy or gluten or fruit. Take it real slow so that you can try to figure out how's my body actually feeling after this kind of fuel? Am I really truly fueled, or, is this not working out for me? We find so many allergies when people do it that way, but it is hard and you have to be patient and just kind of, stay the course on that part.
Yeah, you've come this far. So, don't sabotage yourself at the end by not phasing out properly, by not figuring out what was going wrong before. So there was a reason that you came in and you had gained this weight over time. So understanding, by introducing these foods one at a time, like Rose is saying, we find that, oh, geez, am I bloated? Do I feel, crappy afterwards? Then you know that that's really not maybe something that's working for you. It's an occasional.
Right.
So, all right, Rose, we have a couple people here. Helena says, go Rose, I love IWM. And Hannah Laura says, thanks for giving a great video. Sure makes a lot of sense. So, Rose, do you have any last tips for people as we close out our program today?
No, I just think, don't be afraid to experiment a little bit and, try some other things. I don't care. You want to throw some chayote squash in your chocolate chip pancake? Go for it. Don't be afraid. You might have to drink it, but, don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to try some new vegetables that you haven't tried. People say, I didn't like that as a kid. Try it again. Get funky with it and have fun.
So we have a couple more people just checking in here. Hannah Laura says she's going to start phase 2 in a few weeks, and it's kind of scary. Do you want to touch on that for a minute?
Sure. Yeah. I think we do have people who are very fearful of putting it back on, maybe because that's how it's happened to them in the past. They've lost the weight. This is, they're professional dieters. They've done this a million times and they really want this time to be different. So they're fearful. They're anxious of that. Take it slow. Listen to your coach. Keep journaling all the way through. And when I say journal, I don't just mean write down what you eat. Write down how you feel. Write down everything, all your victories that you're getting throughout the week. You're going to be okay through phase 2 because you're going to take it slow. And just really all of the things that you would tell your children about being anxious, taking deep breaths and getting good sleep and positive self-talk. All of those things are the same things that you want to instill into your own mind right there. And you're going to be okay. Just listen to your coach. Keep coming in. You are not by yourself here. We're all here as a big support group, high-fiving you along the way. You'll do great. Phase 2 is fun. That's just more fat. That's fun. More protein.
Yeah, phase 2 is easy. I pretty much live between phase 2 and phase 3 for me.
I like phase 2 because I bring my leftovers for lunch. It's
Yeah.
easier. Yeah.
So Julie says, I've been on phase 1 for 3. I'm not sure what that means. 3 months, maybe. Oh, 3 years. 3 years. Wow. How much have you lost, Julie? She says, recap. I've been on phase 1 for 3 years. She finds it really hard to stay on. So I'm not sure. You shouldn't be on unless you have a significant amount of weight to lose. I wouldn't have you on phase 1 for 3 years. Do you have any thoughts on that, Rose?
Yeah, I mean, likely, haven't seen her whole profile, but it's probably, phase 1 with some deviations, which is why she's not getting the results that she needs. So maybe that plan is not working for you. Ask your coach about a different plan. If you're stuck on any plan for that long, you keep trying to go back to that plan, it's not working. Ask your coach. We have an alternative plan. Maybe you need to be on phase 2. Maybe you need to be on maintenance for just a little while until we can get you back to a place where you can be on strict phase 1. But I would say only do phase 1 if you're truly on phase 1. But if you find yourself, I know in your heart of hearts, you're thinking, I can do this, I want to do it, but you keep being disappointed with yourself. We don't want all the guilt that comes with not being perfect and not, hitting your goals. So talk to your coach about that, because I think that plan is not working for you. You need a new plan. Now, they're not going to make up a plan where they go, oh, well, you can have phase 1 plus brownies every Sunday. There's not going to be a plan like that. But there are other plans out there, and we use them all the time. We use phase 2 all the time. Your coach is there. They have all kinds of tips and tools in their back pocket where they can say, how about we try this? But you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you got. So you got to change that up. No more phase 1 for another 3 years. Don't keep doing that.
Yeah. So here's what she said. She said, I lost 50 pounds, gained it back, lost 50 pounds, gained it back, and now needs to lose 70 pounds. So that's that perpetual yo-yo diet where each time you lose a little muscle and every time you gain it back, you actually gain more fat back because we don't actually gain that muscle back.
He's actually really good at phase 1. So next time you're on that, you're really good at phase 1. You've got that down like a pro. While you're in phase 1 and you're being successful and you're doing it, make a separate list of what you need to do differently when you get to maintenance, because you can see that you've got phase 1 down, but there's something that's going on in maintenance where you're not keeping it off. And so the behavior changes that make you successful in phase 1. I don't care if it's journaling, if it's meal planning, and everyone has different things. If it's posting your results on Facebook, if it's checking in with your coach, the things that make you successful on phase 1, the behaviors, not the food, the behaviors have to stay the same into maintenance. So I would just encourage her to pay attention to the behaviors that she's doing right now that make her successful at phase 1. What are those behaviors, and how am I going to keep those behaviors going? A lot of times it comes down to things like, well, I meal planned in phase 1 and I knew exactly what to eat. And so that makes me successful. So keep on meal planning. That has to be a thing. Or I bring my lunch to work. Then you got to keep on bringing your lunch to work. Or I say no to all my friends every time they want to go out to eat. Then you might just have to keep saying that. But knowing where your boundaries are and what made you successful, be really aware of that, because you're great at phase 1. You just got to figure out, what behaviors are changing. There's some behavior that's changing.
Yeah, I love that, Rose, because that, and also the philosophy of you're not dieting. You have completely changed your lifestyle, and those new habits and the way that you eat in phase 1 has to transfer over to phase 4, to maintenance. Otherwise, we end up, with that 50 pounds back on again. Thanks for sharing, Julie, because, it's good that we're all transparent. It's hard to share, and thank you for that. All right, Rose, it's been fabulous. Always love to talk to you, and thank you, always for giving of yourself and your coaching and all of the great workshops and things that you share with your clinic. Everyone should be so lucky to have a clinic like Ideal Weight Management, because they really, you guys have developed a really nice community. I'm always impressed by it.
Self-love club, everybody, self-love.
I love self-love too. Yeah. So if you are watching or you're watching in the replay, remember to type in boost or type in recipe, and you will get a list of all of the recipes or all of the combinations that Rose talked about today. And of course, tell us where you're from and interact in the community. Let us know what your favorite ways are to boost the nutrition in your shakes. And thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, Rose.
Bye.